Our per capita emissions are in the region of about 2 tons, whereas the global average is approximately 6 tons. This stems out of our culture. Already, because our costs of setting up renewable energy capacity is the lowest in the world. It's just about $600,000 per megawatt. It's the lowest in the world. Therefore, our green hydrogen will be the least cost green hydrogen in the world. And the world knows that. We have a production linked incentive scheme for electrolyzers. And then we have, for the initial 3 years, we will also support the production of green hydrogen, green ammonia. The biggest support, of course, is that we are a huge market. That R&D roadmap will have, the partnership across the board. Government, our laboratories, and the IITs, and the industry. And we'll do it, in total partnership so that the patent is owned by all of us in common. So come and partner with us. All the industries, this is an invitation. Partner with us for developing, more efficient fuel cells. Partner with us for developing, the mechanisms for transporting green hydrogen. Partner with us in pilots for green steel, green cement. Come and partner with us. This is the biggest market in the world, and we shall make things here. We shall prefer things which are made here. Shri Rameshwar Teliji, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Natural Gas and Labour Employment. Dr. Ajay Sood, the Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India. Shri Bhupendra Bhalla, the Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Dr. Kalai Selvi, the Director General of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, the Secretary, DSIR. All the eminent scientists, engineers, captains of industry, officers, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the cusp of a brave new world, a world in transition. By and large, there is now a common consensus across the world that the environment is in danger, that the way we live and work needs fixing. Not very long back, maybe 5 years, 7 years back, there are a lot of naysayers. Those who refused to believe that there was such a thing called global warming, who refused to, who said that all this is a hoax. Now no longer. That consensus is there across the world that we need to transition. We are one of the lowest emitters in the world. Our per capita emissions are 1/3 of the global average. Our per capita emissions are in the region of about 2 tons, whereas the global average is approximately 6 tons. This stems out of our culture. Our culture is something which emphasizes simplicity. I've been in politics now for almost about 10 years, and I can tell you that the people of our country, they like simplicity. They like simple lifestyles. If I go to my people with a flashy lifestyle, on expensive vehicles, etc., flashily dressed, I lose votes. That's what our country is. And we revere simplicity. Look at Mahatma Gandhi. And we call, the Indians called him Mahatma because of his simplicity. So that's our culture. And that is the culture which, our Prime Minister spoke about when he spoke about lifestyle for environment. Ultimately, that is the basic solution. That is the fundamental solution. But notwithstanding the fact that we are the lowest emitters in the world, except maybe a couple of countries. Notwithstanding that, we have emerged as a leader in energy transition. a world leader, without any exception. We had pledged that by 2030 we'll reduce the emissions intensity of our economy by 33%. Now we've already achieved that. We achieved that again a good 9 years in advance. And this despite the fact that, as I said, we are the lowest emitters in the world, one of the lowest emitters in the world. We further reduced our emissions intensity by 33%. We have some programs which are world-leading programs in emissions reduction. Our program for LED was the largest such program, and is still the largest such program in the world. That has resulted in a reduction of CO2 emissions by approximately 103 million tons per annum. Our program for reduction of emissions from industry, we call it perform, achieve, trade, because if you overachieve the emissions reduction, you get energy saving certificates which you can trade, or emission saving certificates which you can trade, which are sold, which have a price. I think it's in the range of a couple of thousand rupees as of now. There's an exchange for that. Now that has resulted in emissions reduction of about 106 million tons per annum. Now this is how our appliances program has resulted in a star rating program, has resulted in an emissions reduction of 53 million tons per annum. So these are the steps. Our program for energy efficient housing that has been adopted across the country by almost all the regulatory agencies, so that future construction is energy efficient. We have a plethora of green buildings coming up. So we achieved our NDC, which we had pledged in COP21 in Paris 9 years in advance, as it was mentioned by the Honorable Prime Minister in his speech, in terms of emissions reduction. We've achieved our NDC in terms of energy transition also 9 years in advance. Today, our established capacity of non-fossil fuel power generation is about 42% green, 42% non-fossil. I have about 180 odd thousand megawatts of non-fossil electricity generation capacity out of a total capacity of 416 gigawatts. And we have a further about 83 gigawatts under construction, non-fossil fuel capacity, which includes hydro and nuclear. So because of these things, we are perhaps the only country which has increased its ambition. From COP21 to COP26, we increased our ambition. And then we've pledged that by 2030, we'll reduce our emissions intensity by 45%. And that, we'll have 50% of our capacity coming from non-fossils by 2030 instead of 40%. And we shall overachieve both. Now, all this despite being the lowest emitters in the world. That's because our government believes in it. Our government believes in leaving behind, and I keep saying this, our government believes in leaving behind a healthier planet for our succeeding generations. And that's why we launched the Green Hydrogen Mission. And in this also we shall emerge, and we have already started emerging as a leader. We already have programs on the ground. Industries have acquired land, they have got into agreements with states for setting up 3.5 million tons of manufacturing of green hydrogen already. That's the pace at which we are going. And there is a reason for it. The reason is that we have built up a huge ecosystem, a very robust ecosystem for renewables. So we have now industries which are world leaders in renewables, whether it is solar, whether it is wind. In wind energy, we have perhaps one of the largest manufacturing ecosystems in the world. In the solar energy ecosystem, we are getting there. We already have almost about 25,000 megawatts of manufacturing capacity. And we have another about 40 gigawatts of manufacturing capacity under construction for solar cells and modules. And almost about 25 gigawatts of that would be from polysilicon onwards. So we are going to emerge as the largest manufacturer of solar cells and modules in the world outside of China. But outside of China, nobody will come close to us. because we'll have approximately 70, 80 gigawatts of manufacturing capacity, 50% of which will be from polysilicon onwards. And that's already on the works. People are already setting up factories as we speak. And this, this is what will happen insofar as hydrogen is concerned as well. Already, because our costs of setting up renewable energy capacity is the lowest in the world. It's just about $600,000 per megawatt. It's the lowest in the world. Therefore, our green hydrogen will be the least cost green hydrogen in the world. And the world knows that. The world realizes it. Now, there are reasons for this. Of course, we have put in place an ecosystem which is robust. Our ecosystem is such that we've connected the whole country to one grid. We added about 197,000 circuit kilometers of transmission lines in the past 14 years. This government has added. And now we can transfer about 112,000 megawatts from one corner of the country to another. That's what we have done. And now we've set ourselves a target of setting up 500 gigawatts, 500,000 megawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2030. Now that's way beyond that NDC. Our NDC is 50%. By the 2030, my my capacity would be about 800 gigawatts, 800,000 megawatts. Now 50% of that is 400,000 megawatts. But we've planned to set up 500,000 megawatts of renewable energy capacity. And we are adding transmission to enable the transfer of that capacity from wherever to wherever in our country. That's what we are doing. And, we've changed the way we do business. I mean, this is a different government. Our government is totally different. We've changed the way we do business. We believe that our mission in government is to help industry, to make sure that you can do your business. That's our business, to make sure that you can do your business at the least cost. And therefore, we've changed the rules. Today, you apply for connectivity, you will get connectivity in 60 days, or somebody will answer to me. Somebody's head will roll. You apply for connectivity anywhere else in the developed country, it will take you 1.5 years, 2 years to get connectivity. That's my challenge. That's why India is the place to work in. And that's why, Bloomberg has called us as the most attractive destination for investments in the world, insofar as renewable energy is concerned. And that's why every major fund is invested here. Now, there's another reason why every major fund is invested here. I will continue to get invested here. And that is that we are the fastest growing large economy in the world. Our rate of growth is 7.2%. For a large economy, that's huge. The rate of growth of other large economies would range from 1% to maybe 3%. Our rate of growth is 7.2%. And it's going to accelerate further. So my demand is increasing. My energy demand is increasing. As I said, my capacity today is 416,000 megawatts. By 2030, it will go up to 800,000 megawatts. And that's conservative estimate which we have. That's double in the next 7 years. And it will further double by 2047. That's where we are at. So my energy demand is going to be 3 times what it is now. That's what it is. So we are the biggest market. Now, if you are in the industry, business of energy, this is the place to be. That is given, because we are the biggest market. We are the biggest growing market. All the developed world cannot continue growing at that pace. I mean, their growth has plateaued out. But our growth is accelerating. So we are the biggest market. So if you are in the electricity industry or energy industry, please. I mean, if you are missing this, you are missing the biggest market in the world. So that's why nobody wants to miss it. Now we are going to set up a huge ecosystem for hydrogen as well. We have a production linked incentive scheme for electrolyzers. And then we have, for the initial 3 years, we will also support the production of green hydrogen, green ammonia. The biggest support, of course, is that we are a huge market. That's the biggest support. Now, as I said, this is just the cusp. We are at the cusp. This is not, the hydrogen ecosystem. It just started growing around the world. The things which we are doing are all, being done for the first time. The things which the world is doing are being done for the first time. Green steel. I mean, we are doing it for the first time. The rest of the world is also doing it for the first time. So we'll have pilots. The rest of the world is also having, the developed world is also having pilots. We'll have pilots. The advantage, of course, our pilots will be that, when that pilot succeeds, they have this huge 150 million ton per annum steel market here. Steel manufacturing capacity here, which is not paralleled anywhere in the world. So we want to do a pilot and come here, because we have the biggest steel industry in the world outside of China. Similarly, transport, heavy mobility, and given this, we'll have the biggest sort of demand outside of China. But that's the pilot which we are having. We are doing already. You heard already. Similarly, in fertilizers, green fertilizers, green cement. Now all these are things which we are doing, because we are interested in survival. That's our commitment. That's the commitment of the government. And this we shall continue doing. Let there be no mistake. Let there be no doubt about it. And we want the whole world to partner us. And that, I think, is the solution. The solution is not setting up barriers, which some countries have started doing. We heard speeches from these countries for the past many decades about how free trade is absolutely necessary and how it is ethical, etc., etc. Now, those countries are setting up barriers, which is shameful. And if you set up barriers, then you are not helping the cause of the world going to net zero. We shall get there because your barriers won't work. And incidentally, let me tell you that barriers can be put up by by both parties. So if you put up barriers, we can put up barriers as well. The difference only is that if I start putting up barriers, you will face a barrier in entering the biggest market in the world. Of course, outside of China. If you want to go to China, of course, that's your option. But if I start putting up barriers, then you will be losing out. So to the countries who are putting up barriers, that's my message. That too can play at a game. So we'll also play at a game. So no barriers. But the type of barriers which I see coming up are also ridiculous. You have one region which has said that the distance between the point of generation of renewable energy and the location of electrolyzers should not be more than 500 kilometers. Now tell me, is there any logic in it? We transport electricity for thousands of kilometers we are setting up, incidentally, 13,000 megawatts of renewable energy capacity in Ladakh. Now that's the highest plateau in the world. And we'll be transferring that electricity, that's green electricity, the solar and wind entirely, 13,000 megawatts with storage around the clock. And we'll be transferring it, across our country to my friend Rameswar's state in Assam, which is almost about, the 1,200, 1,500 kilometers away, and to Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. That's thousands of kilometers away. We'll be using that green hydrogen for that green energy for producing green hydrogen of the just outside the port premises of Tuticorin. That's thousands of kilometers away. Now, what's the point of saying that the distance between the renewable energy capacity and electrolyzer should be only 500 kilometers? What's the point? It's a barrier. Some people are giving the huge subsidies, which is equal to the cost of producing green hydrogen, which is also a barrier. Now, if you talk about barriers, stop talking about going green. And incidentally, that's what's already happened. I'm surprised. The discussions which I am having and which my officers are reporting to me. We have countries saying that, no, don't talk about green hydrogen, talk about low carbon hydrogen. Now, if you talk about low carbon hydrogen, you are not talking about going green. You are not talking about net zero. That's the point. If you are talking about blue hydrogen, the point is that it has dangers. You make blue hydrogen, where will you store the carbon dioxide? You're saying that we can sequester it. There's a question mark. A commercial scale sequestration, I have yet to see. And the guarantee is that it will not leak out is a question. So all these are questions. I hear talk about small modular reactors. Great. And nuclear energy is clean. We believe in that. The problem, of course, is storage of the waste. So the reminder is that there's a cabinet scheduled at 10:30. So I think I'll have to rush. But I look forward to the results of your deliberations. What we shall do is that we shall, we'll give you the demand, number one. We'll help you to develop the products. I already saw, where I entered, I saw made in India products, made in India fuel cells. Great. Made in India hydrogen mobility. Great. So it's already happening as we speak. The thing is that the government will partner you. You will partner the industry in developing cutting-edge technology insofar as fuel cells are concerned, insofar as hydrogen storage is concerned. And we'll be with you. We'll give you the demand. We'll also help you to develop it. So the development R&D roadmap, which has been outlined by the principal scientific advisor, that R&D roadmap will have a partnership across the board. Government, our laboratories, and the IITs, and the industry. And we'll do it in total partnership so that the patent is owned by all of us in common. So come and partner with us. All the industries, this is an invitation. Partner with us for developing more efficient fuel cells. Partner with us for developing the mechanisms for transporting green hydrogen. Partner with us in pilots for green steel, green cement. Come and partner with us. This is the biggest market in the world, and we shall make things here. We shall prefer things which are made here. I wish you all the best in your deliberations, and I shall wait keenly for the results of the deliberations. Thank you.